Good afternoon. It is with great pride that I welcome you to our 9th annual Honors Convocation. Honors Convocation is a celebration of our students who are recognized for their distinguished academic achievements, a time for us to gather as a community and recognize the very best of our students who are prepared to make significant contributions to their professional field or graduate programs. And to think just 4 years ago, most of these students sat in this very gym for their new student convocation the night before their first day of college. You truly have come full circle. To begin this important event, I ask that you all stand for the national anthem. Please be seated. Becker College has long been recognized for its academic excellence. The graduating class of 2017, well represented by the scholars honored today at this ceremony, are following in the footsteps of more than 22,000 alumni from around the world who contribute in business, education, interactive media, healthcare, social services, law, politics, science, and technology. 7 years ago, Becker College welcomed an energetic, charismatic, and passionate leader as president. He has challenged our students to always shoot for the stars, dream big dreams, and never let anyone stand in the way of their success. His influence on the Becker College experience has uniquely prepared this year's graduates to join our thousands of alumni in creating a world filled with possibilities. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our 10th president, Dr. Robert Johnson.
Thank you, Dr. Kremen. I welcome our distinguished speaker and guest, our trustees, our students, faculty, staff, and alumni, the families and friends of our award winners, and of course, all who are honored this afternoon for their great accomplishments. Let's give them a big hand. I welcome everyone who is with us today to celebrate excellence in its many forms. Today, we recognize academic excellence among our students in our graduating class. We applaud excellence in teaching and advising among all our full-time, adjunct, and accelerated program faculty. Our students recognized here today have attained impressive grade point averages, have been selected by their faculty as exceptional within their respective programs, and have demonstrated scholarship, achievement, leadership, and Becker pride. Our honors convocation truly represents the best of the best at Becker College. It is a really, really exciting time to be here today because we have a wonderful speaker in Mr. Manny Lopes. He is a dynamic individual. The great historian in 1662, Thomas Fuller, says, "Great hope makes great men." And when we think about our speaker of the hour, he is a man of great hope, and he is an individual who has become a great man. From a young man growing up in his neighborhood, rising to the CEO of the East Boston Community Health Program, he is a dynamic individual. He is a man of great hope in the community in which he works, giving people hope for the opportunity to have good health care. He is a man of great hope because the very people that he brings along within his community to provide health care for, he also employs them. He is a man of great hope, of great opportunity to boldly take his community places where they have never gone before. So it gives me a great honor to introduce our speaker of the hour, Mr. Manny Lopes.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. I wish the rest of my family was here to hear that introduction. Good afternoon, members of Becker College, class of 2017. I am so happy to be with you today, as well as my wife, beautiful wife, my 2 children, and my 2 siblings. Graduating with honors is such a big deal. But you're not just graduating from college, you're graduating from Becker. Give yourselves a round of applause. So as far as I can see, that means that you have explicitly chose to invest your time, your talent, your intelligence and creativity, and resources in preparing to become a socially conscious leader in our global society. Standing here today, I can't think of anything more honorable or more important. I may not know all of you by name, but I do know we all have something in common. We speak the same language, as Dr. Johnson mentioned, the language of empathy, initiative, passionate for commitment to global citizenry. We know the words, "Be the change," aren't just a feel-good tagline on Becker's letterhead. Those words matter. And you're here today because you are the change. Congratulations again. As Dr. Becker mentioned, like you, I knew early in life that I wanted to make a difference. Not only was I born and raised in East Boston, but I lived in the same 3-decker building, the same 1-bedroom apartment until I got married. Now, I wouldn't recommend that for a lot of people, but it worked out for me. Today, I stand here before you as President and CEO of East Boston Neighborhood Health Center, one of the largest community health centers in the country and one of the most innovative in the country, located just around the corner from that same apartment. How did I get there? Well, it's an interesting story that I would like to share with you with some great characters. First, my mother and father came here from Cape Verde Islands back in 1965. When they divorced, my mother became a single parent, raising 5 kids, in that same 1-bedroom apartment. We knew what it meant to do without. We knew how hard our mom had to work to keep us fed and to keep us clothed. In her youth, this remarkable person raised her 6 brothers after her own mother passed away. She couldn't read or write. While my mom didn't have a formal education, she had the passion to provide for her family, first her 6 brothers, and then her 5 children. So my mom didn't have the string of impressive credentials after her name, but she had a lot of wisdom, and she made sure that she shared that knowledge with us, either by her words or by her example. I never heard my mother complain. Instead, she expressed gratitude. She always looked for more ways to give back to others. She felt a responsibility to be the change, to serve as a force for the common good. And she instinctively saw the big picture. She knew it wasn't about her. Back in 1980, my mother decided it was time for her to become a U.S. citizen. Her brothers that she had raised were now living with their families in Angola, who was suffering from a brutal war. Except there was one problem. She couldn't read or write, which meant she couldn't pass the test. She needed help. So, an 11-year-old boy and his 12-year-old sister became their mother's tutor. During the next 3 years, we sat with Mom and taught her how to read and write, and we taught her about U.S. history and U.S. government. Mom was determined. She worked hard. That's who she was. Even if it meant struggling as an adult to learn how to read and write, she would do it, and she was determined to pass this test, and I had no doubt. In fact, she nailed it on the first try. So, with my mother's assistance, her 6 brothers were granted permanent visas to the U.S. and began a life of their own. Before they headed off on their own, 22 of them lived with us in that same 1-bedroom apartment. Again, don't recommend it. Today, my local extended families include more than 75 aunts, uncles, cousins, all living in and around East Boston. So you can say we're taking it as a personal mission to populate East Boston and the surrounding communities. So this is where I got to tell my young sons to cover their ears for a moment, because I have to be honest. Despite my apparent success as a tutor, boys, are you listening? You shouldn't be. I was only an average student in high school. While I may not hit the books as hard as I should have, I had big dreams, and I spent a lot of time trying to build something of my own. I had my mom's work ethic, which gave me hope and possibilities. Some people may say I was lucky, and maybe I was, but more often than not, good luck is the intersection of preparation and opportunity. I've always loved music, and it's always been a big part of my life. So when I was a junior in high school, I started my own DJ company. And I started working in many of the high school proms and some of Boston's hottest nightclubs. Oh, I thought I was pretty cool. I'm just glad that was all before Facebook and social media, so there's no evidence of any of that stuff. College was expensive even back then, so I needed more than a lousy DJ's paycheck to pay for school. Good fortune struck again. I landed a job where everyone in my community went for health care, the East Boston Neighborhood Health Center. The health center hired itself an 18-year-old research assistant. I reported to an amazing doctor, Dr. Jim Taylor, chief medical officer, who was a pioneer of community health centers. I worked at the health center while earning my bachelor's degree, and I was eventually promoted to health screener, and Jim Taylor became my mentor. Dr. Taylor was a humble, passionate, soft-spoken man and very unassuming, but he was brilliant. When he talked, everyone listened. When he talked, everyone wanted to listen. That humility and that quiet grace captivated me, as well as his intense passion for leadership towards the common good. Dr. Taylor and others at the health center were inspiring because they cared so deeply about the work that they were doing, as well as the people they served. The health center service area is comprised of a population affected by significant health disparities and disproportionate risk. Dr. Taylor and his team stepped into leadership roles in community-based public health and never wavered. They knew it wasn't about them, it was about the community as a whole, each patient as an individual. I knew I had an opportunity to be part of something special, so I retired that successful DJ business and started to focus on my new career at the health center. Time brought more and more responsibility and more learning, but I was still dreaming big. I had set out a goal that by the age of 30, I would make my first million. But what was clear was I was no way getting to that million working in community healthcare. I also thought it was time for me to venture out, spread my wings, so I decided to join the private sector. At the age of 28, I left the East Boston Neighborhood Health Center, joined the consulting firm to learn more about business operations from a different perspective. The work was complex, but it was also rewarding, with a lot of perks. I traveled the world, had gained a lot of experience, gained material wealth. It was glamorous. It was the lifestyle I had dreamed about as a kid. I rode the dot-com wave. I'm looking at your faces, most of you don't know what that means. It was a time in this economy when people were making a lot of money during the internet. And it was a fabulous opportunity for me. I had finally made it big, but there was a problem. Even at the height of all this success, I knew that that wasn't the life for me. Corporate America just wasn't for me. Something was missing. You know, it turns out that money and recognition are not the path to happiness in some cases. Helping those in need, helping those less fortunate, that was my path. It was time to go home to East Boston because I had been blessed with amazing opportunities. The opportunity to be raised by a mother who was loving and worked hard, the opportunity to go to college, the opportunity of making a decent living. Doors had opened for me, and it was time for me to open doors for others. I was ready to put everything I've learned in the private sector in service to my community. So I returned to East Boston Neighborhood Health Center. You know, it's amazing what happens when you figure it out. It's not about you. The burden I felt as a business consultant went away. In so many ways, it was like coming home. I knew also I had to further my education. So in 2008, I enrolled at Northeastern University for an MBA program. Soon after completing that MBA, I became deputy CEO at the health center, working alongside Jack Craddock, President and CEO, and one of the country's most recognized pioneers in community healthcare. When Jack retired in 2014, I assumed the role of President and CEO. Now, Jack is a tough act to follow, but I had a lot of help. I had talented staff, I had a community that was deeply supportive and richly diverse. We were all working together on a mission to provide accessible, affordable, high-quality care for all. I'm talking about health care, regardless of age, gender, income, social status. Because regardless of what happened yesterday, I believe that we all believe health care is a right, not a privilege. So, from my mother's earliest lessons to standing here before you today, I've never walked the path alone. For all those people who told me I couldn't do it, that I would not succeed, I wasn't the right color, I didn't come from the right background, or I wasn't good enough, I had many others tell me that I could do it. They believed in me, they took chances in me, and I wasn't going to let them down. That's why it's so reassuring to see future leaders like you overflowing with potential and commitment to serve the common good. I know. These speeches are usually full of advice, right? How to succeed in life, how to build a career, and how to be happy. And all of those things are extremely important. But today, I'm simply here to share with you my journey and what I found on that journey. The common theme I learned was that it was not about me, and it's not about you. It's about us. It's about us as a community and a society. So, you are about to become Becker alumni, ambassadors for what this institution has taught you. You are the benchmark for what it means to be leaders who make a difference. Leaders who will reach out, reach back, pull someone up by the hand, and give someone else a little good luck. Go on, do your best work. Even if you don't feel like it, be the one that goes the extra mile without complaining. Your parents are listening and your family's listening to all this as well. Be the one that celebrates the abundance around you. This is how we shape society. This is how we teach ourselves the deeper meaning comes from our connection with others, from the power as a community. As proactive global citizens, this is your responsibility. This is your privilege. You've already demonstrated your ability to accomplish great things. And this achievement should serve as your launch pad. Because you already know the secret. It's about all of us. That's who we are. I commend you for choosing the common good, and I look forward to watching you as you apply your talents, creativity, and passion to conscious, sustainable leadership. And I just want to say again, congratulations. Now go be the change. Thank you.